One of the things that I have done just right off the bat that you'll notice is the chat notification. So you can make that do not disturb active, but I like to just turn this off for a bit. So like while I'm with you, I do not want to be distracted by alerts, and sometimes you just goes crazy. So like I won't be alert. So anyways, I do that most all the time now because I'll just get all these, these little boxes will pop up like this. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I can't deal with that right now.
So they'll just all pop up from the bottom like that.
Yeah. That's right. It just pauses you for a bit, and you can turn it to do not disturb if you want. And you can go into your chat notification settings and you can choose, at mentions and direct messages. But I just find that if I'm doing something for an hour, I'm just going to turn it off. On the right-hand side, you'll notice a couple different features. There's the calendar feature. There is the keep icon, which is where I've started taking a lot of notes. Like when I'm in meetings, I find myself using the keep icon often because it just is it's a little bit easier. Sometimes my notes, I don't necessarily need them in my Google Drive all the time because I might get rid of them. So if I need to take a note, even right now, Angie, next steps, I can just keep that note for me right now. So you have the ability to archive, and you can keep it in Keep. You can do all these different things. You can pin it if you want. Keep, just so that you know what this is. This is another Google application, and it just gives you the ability, like now I'm looking at next steps, but all these other notes that I have, whether it's Connect Team or audiobooks, or I'm keeping those, but I have access to it while I'm in the Gmail. Like I never have to leave it, right?
And you can email those to other people?
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can email it to people. You can copy it to Google Docs. You could add a collaborator to it. But often I find that this just is an easy way for me to take notes. And then as soon as I'm done with that note, I can just archive it if I need to. So the task is Google's application for tasks. You can also see, I'm going to open up my phone real quick. I don't know if you can see it, but the Google Task icon is right there. These tasks are being published on that right-hand side. So the way that tasks work is that you have you can create multiple lists for tasks. So like my farm, it means work, family. If I'm looking at all of my comm requests that I've got, like this is 5 days due. But if you click on an email, like if I get a comm request, I can actually add that to my tasks. So I could click that button, and then that now shows up in my task, and it actually makes a note for that First Peter email that you can see that we're working on right now. So I'm going to mark that unread because I don't know what's going on and I don't want to lose that. But you can edit these tasks. You can add dates to them. So these are personal for me. So if I want to come back and look at this on Monday at, let's say, 9 a.m. and hit save, you can do repeats and you can add subtasks. But what that does is that is now living in my comm list. So I clearly don't need it. But what's nice about this is that when you do open up your calendar, you actually have a section underneath your My Calendars that is titled Tasks. So let me scroll down a little bit here. So you can see, it's kind of refreshing right now. So I take that, if I click that off, those tasks don't show up. But if I go to Monday, there's that First Peter one that we were just talking about. So I can look at my calendar, and I can do all of the tasks that I'm actually doing on a regular basis, and I can mark complete, and that also updates what's happening over here. So I can mark that off, and it's going to update on my calendar. It doesn't matter what list you have. All of your lists, you can have multiple lists. So like I'm traveling to Greer this Sunday, and that's a task that I actually have in one of my rooms. So what's nice, we'll talk about this in a minute. Tasks can be personal, so you can add tasks, anything. This is, thing I need to do. And you can create that, and you can do all of the dates and stuff to that. But what's nice that I'm going to show you in a minute with rooms that are all over here on the left-hand side is when you're working in projects with people, you can actually assign people tasks that way, and it works the same way. So you've got your personal tasks, but when you see this little icon, as that icon right there, that little room icon that was the two boxes at the top and the middle box, like that actually belongs to a room, which is a project. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is real nice because you can keep this open and you don't have to go open up calendar. You don't have to go open up your tasks. You can just keep everything. This is kind of like your central hub for all of the work. So does that make sense a little bit?
Yeah.
Any questions about, can make a calendar if you want. You can, you can, of course, add Google Meet to it. You can add guests to it. You can do all the things that you normally do in a calendar. You can just do it all right here. It's real nice.
It feels like they kind of all talk together.
That's right.
Yeah. So that seems pretty helpful.
I have found it to be very helpful.
Yeah, I definitely like the tasks where you can just put the time, the date, a date for like reminders is really helpful.
Yeah, that's right. So anyways, that's the right-hand side. We'll close that for a minute. Let's talk about the left-hand side, which is what you're seeing now that's new. So now that you have the new integrated workspace, you probably noticed that this is a little bit different on the left-hand side. Your email works just like it normally did with filters and folders and all that different stuff. Chat, if I need to chat somebody, you can see who's on, and you can see if you have this thing as a kind of a notification, like you're turned off right now, you will not get chats. But if I turn off do not disturb and I go find you as a chat, I don't know if you can click on this little plus. I'll just use you. So you're right there. So I can, I can chat you, I can use this. Hey, thank you, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And you can see the whole process kind of work. So I like
that, because we live in emails, so much. I live in my email, and it's really nice that just when you just did, when you just sent that to me, it was nice because it just came right up on my computer, and
yep.
I didn't have to be in Podio for it to come up, so.
That's right. And as we begin to let staff know about this and start working through this, it's not unconscious competence right now for our staff to do this. Sometimes if I need to talk to Scott Mazingo, I just text Scott Mazingo. That's just a rhythm that I have with him. But there are some people that don't like text because that's their phone, and right. They need it just, hey, can you just email me that? And it's like, well, I could, and you could email them that, but this is another way to communicate, and it's kind of the same thing. All right, so rooms are where all the magic happens. That's what I would like to say. And so these are different projects that I am working on. Not every campus might need this. Not every staff person might need this. But if in our central capacity, as we work with staff, I do think that we could utilize this more. At least everything that we are working on as a group is in this group. So let's go ahead and make one. I'm going to make a room. I'm going to create one real quick. I'm going to call this, we'll call it Get It Done Room. You can go add emojis. I can go add you to Angie. I can add you. I'm going to add Molly. Just whenever we're working on something, like it's hard to get everybody in the room. You've got comm, you've got production, you've got facilities, you've got leadership, you've got different people. This is like creating a meeting that just gets us everybody on the same page within 10, 15 minutes. We did this and we didn't have to meet. And to get all of those people in the room, it just costs a lot of money. And it also it could take us a week to do that. And then I've already talked to you, you've already talked to me, and people are left out of the loop. So this is a quick way to kind of have that initial meeting. If you do want to allow people outside of your organization to join, you can. Not every organization is live yet with integrated workspace, but soon they will be. I think it's in a couple weeks this will go live with everybody. But organizations can choose to turn it on for their employees. So, right now we've just got a select few people that have it. I don't think that we're going to need outside people, but if we did need volunteers to have access to a room when you're doing something like this, you might want to click that box.
Okay.
So once I create this is going to open up my room, and there's a thread. A thread would be kind of like a single point of conversation. So I might call this welcome and just say, hey, this is a test group, this is a test room. People can come to it, they can give it an emoji, they can forward this to themselves if they do want to have that in their inbox as a next step. They could come back in here and edit. You can see that now there's a new thread. So if we were going to start a new type of conversation, we would want to click a new thread, right? So if I decided I wanted to talk to you, Angie, I could click your name and say, glad you're here. whatever. And that actually will be emailed to you, and that will live in your inbox. It'll, you probably should have gotten a box that popped up that was like, hey, here's a new room that you've been added to. But if we were going to start a new conversation with facilities, or we were going to start a new conversation with comm because they had questions about this room, then we would just start a new thread. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can also start a Google Meet here. You can also add files from your Google Drive. You can upload files. If I decided that I wanted to, I'm going to go take this folder real quick. This is a quick project that I'm working on. If I wanted to add this folder here, so normally what happens, like in a room, so far as I've worked with different teams to accomplish something, we go ahead and we add all of our files right up at the top. That's a quick thread that we can do. And normally that file will live in the files section. So you can look at chats from that. You can view it in chat where it actually was originated from. You can see who owns it. And then if you click on it, if your screen is big enough, so my screen isn't big enough right now, it's now taking me out to Drive. But if your screen is big enough, if you're on a bigger monitor, then it actually opens up inside this section. You don't have to leave this area. So that's where files are. Tasks are, let me turn this off so I stop getting notifications. Tasks are where we would have like group tasks. So if I needed to create, let's say we're having a meeting, we're all having a meeting, we're all on the phone, we're all talking about this, we're on a Google Meet or whatever, I could say, get thing for Angie, any sort of details, here are the details. If I wanted to add folder, let's say, or I wanted to add a link, I could do that there. And I could say, hey, I want to make sure that I get this done by tomorrow for her at, let's say, 10 a.m. and hit OK. Let me go ahead and assign it to myself. Yeah, this needs to go to me. And I can click add. And so now that is a task that is a part of the room. So that'll show up in my tasks. It'll show up as one of these little icons that say get it done test. So you can see, what's past due. You can see what's due today. There's my link right there. I could click on that if I need to go see the link. If I need to, it'll just take me straight to the room. And so that's a way for me to get stuff done for a project. So like if you had questions for me, instead of emailing me and asking me a bunch of questions, you could just come over here to add a task and you can just assign me a task, tell me what you need and put it in the details what you need. And then I'm going to be notified and then it lives in my task folder for me to get it done. That's one way that we can use tasks. So like for me, for our fall winter discipleship, I mean, we've had a ton of stuff getting done with our fall winter discipleship that we've been able to speed up that would have taken us a week to do in email threads. And I got to go back in email and try to figure out what's going on than me having to actually, I could just get it in my task. So that's a little bit about what the overview of all this is. If I did need to later add people, I can go view the members that are in our group. I can go add members if I need to add new people. That's one way. I can create new threads. Like let's say you weren't added to this thread. Let's say Molly wasn't added, but in the event that you respond to me, let's say you at me in this thread and Molly's following it, then that means she would be notified when, just so that she could be in the loop of what's going on. So that's one thing that could be helpful as you work through rooms. As you work through rooms, if you have different rooms that you're working on, as rooms gets worked on, like I haven't done re-engage PV in a couple days, but if I had worked on it just now, it would go up to the top. So the ones that you haven't worked on the most are at the bottom, and the ones that you're working on the most, they can go back up to the top. Anyways, that's a real quick overview of rooms. The last section of this would be Meet. And this is where you would be able to see all of your meetings. This hasn't turned on live as of right now, but eventually, if I wanted to go to this roundtable meeting, then I can hit join and it will eventually just open up in the panel. You won't have to take your whole screen. It'll just show up like a block section and you'll still be able to do all the work within the meeting itself. So that's a little bit about that. You can see your meetings. You can create new meetings. If you want to, create one right now, you could send an invite to people and go from there. So anyways, that's real quick, high level overview. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is the mail. So right there, you can see that little Gmail mail icon. I'll go ahead and click that. So if you have updated to the newest iOS, you'll see chat, you'll see your rooms are available, you'll see meet, that's all down at the bottom. So now what you can do is you can open up your rooms, start a new thread, you can reply to different individuals, and you can look at files, you can also see tasks, you can create tasks, you can do all kinds of different things that you might need to do. New task. And you can assign different people to it. You can add a date. Let's do that and hit save. And so you can do all those different things. So if you're looking at your Gmail and you don't see that actually in there, what you want to do is you want to go to the App Store. So go to the App Store, look for Gmail right there. You'll want to click on it. It'll say whether you need to update or you need to download it. So in most cases, if you already have this, you'll just click update and then you'll open it and there your rooms and chats will be. So anyways, that's how you can look at your mail and from your mobile device.